Welcome everyone to the video. Welcome to the channel. I've been changing up my little setup here a little bit. My primary computer, I kind of took down all my recording stuff from my primary computer, shifted it over to a secondary computer, just because of the issues I was having with the recording software and everything. And, I'm going to keep that computer just, for this recording, or if I plan to do any live shows or streaming or anything like that in the future, I'm going to keep that computer clean from everything. No, nothing else, and nothing gets messed up. Because that was really, really annoying last week. I think the video got messed up. This one actually might be in 4K. I'm gonna have to double check once I go into edit this video. Either way, welcome to the video. Welcome to the channel. Today is Valentine's Day. I don't know if I said welcome yet, but today is Valentine's Day. Day of me recording this. I've already, we've done dinner already. We've done the chocolates, the roses, all that stuff. So, it's Valentine's Day. Get roses. Get some good quality candy. Chocolate's probably preferable unless, allergic to it or they don't like chocolate. Whoever you're buying for. See's candy. It's one of our favorites. Personally, my favorite as well, too, as well as my wife's favorite. So, of course, I was going to See's Candy. It was jam-packed, full of people. We did the roses. I got red and yellow, along with a little bunch of other flowers as well, too. So, and then I cooked. I made a meal. I picked up a... I was going to do... what do you call it? Tenderloin or filet mignon, however you guys wish to call it. However, I went over to Costco. Typically, I buy from Costco. It's just a good deal over there at Costco, and it's in decent quality. However, they wanted $90. $90. No, not a big deal. Not out of this world. However, it wasn't. If you know your cuts of meat, or your the quality, I guess. Basically, there's different standards. There's prime, there's choice, and I think there's select, and so there was no prime. Like, no prime, and they wanted like $90 for select. I'm like, no, choice. They wanted $90 for choice, and I'm like, I'm not gonna pay $90 for choice. I'd rather, and then I was looking at what their prime selections, which is very small, surprisingly. They usually have a pretty big selection of prime cuts, and if I'm going to spend that kind of money, I want prime. And it wasn't, it was a whole like roast, and I'm like, and first of all, in my opinion, I'm not going to waste the money on prime for a roast because you're going to slow cook that anyways. It's gonna. Either way, I ended up going with a tri-tip, pre-marinated. It was Santa Maria was the name of the, I guess, the marinade they were using already. Smoked it, and I made scalloped potatoes. It turned out great. Everything was very, very delicious. So, not only that, but we also talk a little bit of whiskey. But check this out. It was $10 off at Costco, so I treated myself because it's Valentine's Day. You gotta love yourself. It's Willet. Now, Willet, you might be, if you are familiar with whiskey, bourbon, Willet tends to come in a very fancy bottle. It looks like an old still. It has a very bulbous bottom, and then like real thin, like very, very thin, like thin like this. It'd be a big, and then very, very thin going all the way up. It's very, very unique. But Willet really, really good. A really good American whiskey. This is a rye, so this is not a bourbon. And a rye, to be considered a rye whiskey, I really don't know. It doesn't tell me how much, rye or other grains are in this, but just to be considered a rye, it has to have at least 51% rye in it. So, and typically, let's get this open here. Oh, first of all, this is a Willet straight rye whiskey. It says it's a rare release. Rare by whose standards, though? That's the question. It is cask strength, so we do have a higher proof, 55.7%. So we're looking, what is that? That's close to like 100 and like right around 110, 111 percent proof. Did I say that right? 55.7% alcohol, then here it is, 111.4 proof. Okay, it tells me that right there. Cast strength, so it comes out of the, they don't dilute it or anything. Aged in white oak barrels for 4 years. Says it's a rare release. It's a can crafted in Kentucky. I tend to say it like one of my favorite movies, which is Last of the Mohicans. And it goes, we're heading out to Kentucky. Okay. So this is my first time having this one. So it was $10 off. I think it was $69.99 regularly. I think it was. But let's see. Let's give it a try. Willet's pretty good. I mean, the regular Willet is good, but I'm pretty sure their rye ought to be very good. I like the label on this one too. I just want to be careful not to. There we go. If anybody's interested, or if anybody is into the, there are cork snobs out there. So it's a it's an artificial one. It's not a real cork. And typically, some people associate better quality with real corks, but in my opinion, it doesn't really affect it too much for me. Okay, I got the fancy glass out here because we have a cool little fancy bottle. So got the fancy glass out. It smells like bourbon. It smells like I mean, it's technically, it's not a bourbon, but I mean it's gonna have a lot of the same characteristics as bourbon. We're gonna do a longer show, so I would do a bit of a bigger pour. So brand new to me whiskey. Just give it a try. I'm gonna let it breathe for a little bit, and then just a tad. Get a little swirl, get a little aeration going. Okay, let's do a quick little. Surprisingly, pretty light on the nose. There is a guy that just like he's a Scotch whiskey. What is he? I think he's a what do you call it? I forget what they call him. Like not a master brewer. I think it's beer, but he's a guy that does does all the tastings and make sure everything is what it is. I forget what distillery he works for, but he gets his nose all the way in there. It's tough with those vapors coming out. It can really just fill up your nose. Just a quick little. Okay, spicy. All right, typical rye, very spicy. And by spicy, I don't mean like salsa, like jalapeno spicy or chili pepper spicy. It's more peppery, more peppercorn spice. Like if you bite into a peppercorn, that kind of a spice. Yeah, it got a little bit of heat there, but it's more like spices spicy. If that makes any sense. So definitely got a little bit of heat too as well, coming from that proof. Surprisingly, not too much. Kind of sweet, spicy. The flavor really dissipates fast. Not so much smoke. I'm not picking up a lot of smoke. There's smoke there. I'm not really picking up too much. Picking up a lot of spice, a lot of I'm trying to pick out a little bit of bitterness there. I'm trying to really pick out a flavor that I can remember. As we go on, I might come up with something there, but we'll let it breathe for a little bit. Let it get a little more oxygen. But cool. It's a cool bottle. See, I like the label. You see the label there. Ooh, you got there we go. How about that? Nope. There you go. That's kind of cool. Got up on my hand there. So really cool label there. So far, it's okay. It's not probably not my favorite, but it's okay. All right. Let's get on to the what solds. Did I say like the video? Thumbs up. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Subscribe. All that good stuff. Let's do the breakdown first. We're going to do a breakdown. And we're going to show you the new fees as well, too. Because the new fees should be in effect. Are in effect, I should say. Because I already looked at it. So the fees went up 0.3 0.35%. So we're gonna see. We'll see that here reflected right now. But I gotta bring this up. I gotta bring up the little. I have to bring up the little picture so I can skip through these. Hopefully, I go in the right direction. Okay, Lego minifigure. We didn't sell for very much. But just a little pizza guy. This is one for my own collection. I've decided to start to consolidate my collection. Cause I have a lot of random figures that I really just don't even care about. I mean, I was collecting all the different series. I think it's from series 19. Oh, it is from series. It's right there. It's telling me it is. So I was collecting all the different series of figures, and they're just kind of random. And really, there are other figures I do want, so I'm going to sell some off. It's going to help fund me purchasing other figures that I actually do want in my collection, and not just, I guess these, you would call these probably like filler, just filler pieces, you know. And I'm starting to consolidate my Star Wars stuff, put all my Star Wars together. I'm trying to keep everything together. Right now, I just buy them and just throw them into the minifigure cases I have. And it was just random. Like, it'd be a Star Wars, it'd be a Marvel, it'd be a DC, it'd be a Lego City guy, it would be I don't collect the Friends ones. So I'm trying to keep everything together and focus primarily on the ones that I just want, which are Star Wars primarily. Star Wars is going to be number one, of course. And then some Marvel. I'm not a huge collector of the Marvel minifigures, but I do like some of them, and just collect the unique ones that I do like. I do like Lord of the Rings. I do have a cool selection of Lord of the Rings. I would like to get more Lord of the Rings, and this is kind of what's going to help me. Because a lot of sets coming out. They're releasing sets all the time, so it's constantly going to be a constant chase. It's going to be a constant, constantly trying to get the figures that I want. So I'm gonna start selling. I'm gonna start selling some of the figures that I don't want in my collection. Disney ones, I have a bunch of Disney ones too as well. Those are really cool. I like Disney. We're huge Disney fans, so those will definitely be staying in the collection. Although some of them are like I think there's some from Hercules, I think, and I'm like, I was not really into that movie at all. So, I like the classic ones. But what did it sell for? $4.20. So most minifigures are not going to be crazy prices. Some will. There are some that are incredibly valuable. I have quite a few that are incredibly valuable. They go for hundreds of dollars per minifigure. And I don't necessarily just collect them because they're worth a lot. I collect them because I like them and they're cool looking. It just so happens that some of the Star Wars ones do tend to be worth a lot of money. But this one here, $4.20 for a little minifigure dude. And $5.80 was the shipping cost. Kind of high, but I put 10 ounces. 10 ounces is the bottom floor as far as the weight for shipping. I don't put anything below that. So $10.86 is what they paid. And then you got now down here, take out the sales tax, takes out the transaction fee. So for a total of what gets deposited into the account is $8.36. What's not reflected here is because I did take this screenshot before shipping it out. It was $4.51 is what the actual label cost. So subtract that from the total earnings, and that's what actually gets deposited into the account. So what would that be? That would be less than $4? It's going to be less than $4. It's a little late in the day, so my math, I'm going to use my count. Yeah, it's $3.85 is what will get deposited into the account. Not crazy. Not, these were part of my collection, so I'm not worried about, making my money back on any of these things. On this one here, I forgot how much those Series 19 figures cost, but I probably lost money on this one. But it was part of my collection for a while, so there'll be other figures that will make up that cost. So pretty cool. And the breakdown of the fees. Okay, so here we go. The final value fee was $1.24. As you can see, the 12.7%, and it used to be 12.35%, and we see now the raise, the higher percentage here. So $1.38 minus the 14 cents that I get because top rated seller plus. So it didn't even cancel out the 40 cents, so because that's it, the item didn't sell for that much. So for the grand total of $1.64. That's the same over here. Yeah, $1.64. Okay, that was the same. All right. So that's the breakdown of the fees and how much gets deposited and all that. So, okay. Let's move on to the actual what sold. Well, that one sold, so that is an actual what sold. But let's get over to the main what sold. I'm going to have one in here that's an older sale. I just so happen to be clearing out a bunch of pictures out of my phone, backing up some, and deleting some that were no longer necessary. And I came across this old CD that I sold that'll come up here. I'm not sure at what point it'll come up, but it will come up. It's first thing right here. Okay, it's the first one on the list. I have it on as the last, so we're going from back to front here, according to mine. Okay, Brett Spinner. If you're familiar with Star Trek, he was Data in Star Trek, the android. He has a CD, and it's a play on Frank Sinatra. So old Yellow Eyes is back because he had yellow eyes in Star Trek. So pretty cool. And it is a CD. It's music. What did it sell for? It sold for $80 back in the day. This is probably about a year and a half ago now when this sold. I did look up recent comp. It has gone down in price. It appeared when I originally found this, there were not very many comps to go off on to figure out what I should be pricing it at. I picked it up at the flea market, so I paid very, very little. I mean, I probably paid maybe $1 for it. You don't pay too much for CDs and DVDs at the flea market. So we made some pretty good money on this one. Did I realize it was going to be that much? No, but I did know that I knew who Brett Spinner was. And I was like, this is so unusual, so cool. And I was like, I listened to the music and I'm like, this is not good. So I sold it. I don't know. I think it was media mail that it went. So it was probably right around $4.50 or so for the shipping. I don't remember. But it sold for $80 is what this thing sold for. So pretty cool. Keep your eye. It still goes for quite a bit. I saw some comps around 45, 60. So it's still a CD that commands way above average for what CDs typically go for. So keep your eye out for it. Brett Spinner, Star Trek. I mean, it's pretty recognizable there. I mean, I don't think you can miss that. And on to the ones that are sold this week. So the cool, the unusual, the unique are the ones I try to feature here. And I'll feature as many as I think are necessary. I'm not going to go through all the what sold. It'll be a very long video. But we'll do the cool, unique ones, the ones that maybe have stories along with them, anything like that. But this is really cool. Pottery Barn. Keep your eye out for Pottery Barn. Pottery Barn commands a premium. And this was no different. This is a really cool clock. It obviously has 3 clocks in it. The middle one did not work. So this did not go for as much as I wished it would have, which is probably more in the $40 to $50 range. I sold it for... I'm back at the top now. What the... I don't know where. It's probably going to be all over the place. $16.60 is what I ended up selling it for because I did sell it as being broken or for parts. The other 2 clocks worked. It was the metal one I just could not get working. So I sold it, And sometimes that happens. You buy, I've said before, electronics, you got to be cautious. You can't pay too much for electronics because you never know if it's going to work. And this had 3 clocks, so there's 3 opportunities for it not to work. And sure enough, one of them didn't work. But it was really cool. It's very heavy. It was very heavy. So the shipping was $14.44 is what the shipping costs. This went in a 14.10 6 box. And it was cool. It's a cool piece. Pottery Barn. Keep your eye out for it. I remember several months ago, I bought a bunch of like iron Pottery Barn curtain tiebacks that I found a bunch of them for $2 at a Goodwill, and by a bunch of them, I think it was 17 or 18 of them, and they each sold for between $30 to $40. So because it was Pottery Barn, made in China, Pottery Barn, So people like Pottery Barn. Pottery Barn commands a premium. Keep your eye out for the name Pottery Barn. And then this is another one here. So this is another cool one, another name to look out for when it comes to wallets, bags, purses. American Leather Co. It's nothing wild, but $39.51 is what this backpack sold for. So a bit above average for backpacks, in my opinion. It's a really nice leather, kind of similar if you remember Wilson's leather. Very, very similar in style, just kind of plain, kind of heavier leather. Really cool piece. American Leather Co. Keep your eye out for it. They make purses. They make backpacks here. They make wallets. Definitely a good brand. It's not crazy. You don't want to pay too much. Five, like this backpack. Yeah, you could probably get away with paying up to $10 for this backpack, and you still make some pretty good profit on this. But $39 and did I say that already? $39.51. $12.52 is what the shipping was on this one here. And this went in one of my large poly bags. I did bag it first in a plain clear poly bag. Then it went into my larger padded poly bag. Oh. But I didn't mess anything up on the keyboard there. Okay. Now, this is definitely a bit challenging because you're going to be able to need to test these things to get max money for it. And I'm able to test some of these things. I'm able to test a lot of computer components, networking equipment, all that. But you could sell it for parts and still make pretty good money depending upon what your buy cost is. But Ubiquity, the Unify, keep your eye out for it. It has a U usually on it. You'll see a U on it. But this equipment is technically higher end. There are some lower end stuff from this company, but most of it is considered higher end computer networking equipment. They deal a lot in enterprise, or basically things for businesses and companies. They supply a lot of their networking equipment. This is the cloud key, so this allows you to actually access devices remotely on your network. And pretty cool, pretty cool device. I found this at a Goodwill. It sold for $80. So it looked like you could probably get a little bit more for it, maybe about 100, 120, but we're making some pretty good profit on it. And, it sold rapidly within about a few hours. So I was more than happy with the profit on it, and everything tested. It worked. It was going to be an easy ship. It was a close buy. This just went in a padded poly mailer. Obviously, I wrapped it up in bubble wrap. I should probably mention that too. Everything gets wrapped up in bubble wrap before I send it out. Most things get wrapped up in bubble wrap. Like plush. I don't wrap plush in bubble wrap, but things get wrapped in bubble wrap to protect them on their trip, on their journey. So make sure you use the appropriate amount of bubble wrap. This one I wrapped 3 times. It's a pretty solid piece. It does have a tiny hard drive in it, a laptop hard drive. That could potentially get damaged in shipping from just being jostled around. The likelihood is very low, but it is a possibility and something just to be aware of if you do ship things with mechanical hard drives in them. So just ship appropriately. And if you think bubble wrap's expensive, and you're buying it from places like Walmart or Uline, yes, it's going to be expensive if you buy from there. But if you find, look online, shop around. Sometimes you have to buy large quantities to get a lower price. If you're just starting out, it might be kind of difficult to justify paying. You're buying so much when it comes to the shipping supplies. So it's okay to pay a little bit more because, you're not shipping out that much. You don't need huge 750-foot rolls, I think is what it is, of bubble wrap that I get. But as you start to ship out more, start to grow, look into investing in or ordering more supplies per order. It'll drive the individual unit costs down. So that was pretty cool. Look out for that U. This U right here. If you see my mouse cursor, that's the U that'll be on these devices here. I use some of these devices, my own home networking, and rock solid, great devices. Okay, this is a GoPro adapter. So this is a bit of an older device, or an older adapter for older GoPros, and has the USB-C connector there. But this allows you to actually plug in a external microphone. It's not the most convenient thing in the world when it comes to connecting external mics, but GoPros are so tiny and small. I use DJI because they have a wireless mic solution, so it just connects seamlessly to my DJI devices when I'm filming, so that way I get better audio. And I wish GoPro would get on the bandwagon with that, but they haven't. And so you got to work with all these adapters, the previous, I think with the 11, I had the 11, I had the 12, and with those it came with like a little cage that will actually plug into your GoPro and give you additional inputs such as a mic input, but then you lose all your waterproofing and everything with it. DJI, well, their mics aren't waterproof, but at least you don't have to plug anything into the device. It's just a wireless and remains waterproof. Somewhat water. I mean, obviously there's some limitations, but nonetheless, this adapter, keep your eye out for it. It's sold for $35.01. Is that real? Yeah, $35.01 is what it sold for. $5.80 for the shipping. And this tiny little thing went in a very, very small poly bag. Very small poly bag. One of my smaller poly bags. I shouldn't say very small because I went from a smaller size to a larger size because things were getting lost a few years ago with the smaller size that I used. So I upgraded to a bit of a larger poly bag. And now my big old, boxes that are like 2 feet by 3 feet get lost. So knock on wood. We don't want things to get lost. This was really cool. Nesting birds, nesting hens, I saw nesting turkey today. So keep your eye out for it. They are pretty popular. I would stay away from the clear ones. Those ones don't really seem to do that well. The colored ones do way better. And if you find any like jadeite or any like custard glass ones, which are obviously not see-through, they command a bit of a premium. But any colored ones would be better than the clear ones. This was really, really cool. Just a nesting dove. Be careful. Make sure you check everything out. The dove is the lid. So take it off, check it for chips, anything like that around the edges. Be cautious. Check the beak. Make sure the beak's not chipped. Check the tail. You just want to be very, before you make your purchase. And most sales at thrift stores are final, so double check everything to make sure there's no chips. What did this thing sell for? $19.47 is what it sold for. $13.28 for the shipping. This went in a 12 by 10 by 6 box. So pretty cool piece. And, I used packaging paper. I used bubble wrap to make sure it was going to have a safe trip. You can't just throw it in the box. You're not going to just throw it in the box. You don't want it to be moving around. And then you also want it cushioned in there as well, too. I have a video that I did like this. I don't think it's titled Resellers, Poor Resellers Almanac. I think it's titled How to Ship or something like that, where I ship 2 martini glasses. So you can find that on my channel. Next cool piece here. This is really, really cool. Very, very interesting because it's a clock, but it doesn't, it doesn't have the normal, 12 to 3 to 4 seconds hands. It just counts days. That's it. So each day is obviously 24 hours. So it just counts the days and that's it. It moves through the day slowly. So really, really cool. I thought it was cool, unique, and sure enough, it sold. And it sold pretty well, too, for $26.09 is what it sold for. $7.16 is what this the shipping cost, or what the buyer paid, I should say. And then this went in a padded poly mailer. So padded poly mailer is what this went into. I wrapped it 3 times in bubble wrap and then sent it on its way. It wasn't going very far. It was going up to Oregon. So pretty cool piece. It wasn't glass. Like, the thing isn't glass. It's plastic. But really cool. Very interesting, unique, and it does sell, and should sell for around $30-ish. It might, I probably could have held out and waited for $30, but $26. I think I might have sent out an offer on that. Is probably why it went a little bit lower than $30. But we're still making money, and that's great. And it's just a cool, unique item. I've never seen it before, and just be aware that if you see this out there, pick it up. It's cool, it's unique, and it will sell. It's called dayclocks.com is what it says on there. I sell a lot of clocks. People love clocks. Now, this was an interesting piece because it's Charming Tales. And Charming Tales, if you see it in my videos, and you see if I ever come across Charming Tales, I walk right by them. I don't even pick them up. I don't even think it's worth the time to even investigate it. But this one here with this large bouquet of flowers, and it was a little bit striking that first of all, the big bouquet of flowers, and there was 0 cracks, chips, nothing was wrong with it. And I was like, I think this should be about a $15 piece. Well, it sold for $22.06 is what it ended up selling for. So pretty cool piece. Up over $20 for a Charming Tales, a little resin figurine. I mean, Charming. There are the cow ones as well too out there that float around, which I've been seeing, and those are priced way too high at our local Goodwill. And Charming Tales, almost nearly 100%, 99.999%. You stay away from Charming Tales, except for this one. I mean, I shouldn't say you stay away from it. I mean, if you can get them fairly cheap, and we're talking maybe 20 cents a piece, 10 cents a piece, you'll be making a few bucks here and there on them. That's okay, I guess. I mean, it's from a percentage perspective, that's a pretty good profit margin. But typically they're around $2 to $3. So I stay away from at that price point. But this one here, $20. Look out for it. This was really cool. In the video when I picked this up, I don't think that video is out yet. And that might have been when I was I shouldn't say photobombed. I was more, Mike, Golden State Picker, snuck up from behind me on this one. He kind of startled me a little bit. I'm like, who is behind me talking? I think that I'm not sure if that video is out yet. I don't think I've come across it yet in my editing. But that's where I picked these up. Really cool pieces. And in the video, I believe I mentioned this is the stuff I'd like to pick up because it's old, it's vintage, stuff you're not going to be able to find. No one's going to be able to go to Target and pick these up. Maybe Amazon. I don't know. I didn't even try to look it up on Amazon. Other maybe random websites shady websites you might be able to find it on, but you're pretty much going to have to go to eBay to find these things. And vintage Cadillac link frames, they actually link up. I actually had 2 of these. The other one is oval one. Hasn't sold yet, but sorry, I gotta take a sip. But the oval one looked like it was cracked. These are glass. The oval one looked like it was cracked, but I opened it up and it turned out just to be like a line on the plastic. So it's open. I'm like, oh. So I have to sell it as used now. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, I don't think I mentioned. So this went in a, I did wrap it in bubble wrap and it went in a padded poly mailer. The Charming Tales went in a box because there's all kinds of different flowers on it. So I went in a 6x6x6 box. I already said what the wall clock went in. So I definitely want to make sure I mention all that. But really cool. I'm made in the USA. If it's made in the USA, I'm putting that in the title. I definitely believe it helps. MCM, mid-century modern. That's what that means. Mid-century modern decor. Just really cool. Well-made pieces. People are still looking for them. I don't think I told you what they sold for. $17.14. $6.57 is what they paid in shipping. You know, when I pause the video for when I go into discussion mode, I'll probably add a little bit of water and see if that kind of changes it, because you definitely taste that rye. I'm trying to push the vapors through my nose to kind of hopefully try to get more flavor out of it, but there's not much there. It's not much. It's it's all spice. It's all spice. It's all like just like peppercorny spice. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It is good. I mean, I was kind of hoping for more because it's Willet. It's a rare release according to the bottle. Um, yeah, but I don't know. It's just not there. I mean, there's not much smoke. I mean, you kind of get that cherry on the nose, but I'm disappointed. I'm a little disappointed. Unfortunately, you can't return alcohol, so especially when it's been open. I think I've seen people return at Costco unopened, but I technically don't think you can. But I'm not 100% sure on that. If it's open, it's definitely not going anywhere. Might end up in one of my decanters is what it might end up as. Not that that's relegating it or putting it to the back of the it's not like it's everything in my decanters I drink and I like. It's not that I don't like it. It's just there's no complexity to it. There's no other flavors. There's no other. It's not drawing any memories out or anything like that. It's just spicy. That's it. So if it wasn't cast strength, I bet there would be nothing to it. There would be zero to it. So we'll add some water to it at the break and see on the second half of the video. See what becomes of it. Okay, picks up at Goodwill. Singable songs, brand new cassette. And what really, really drew me to that, and why I have that in the title, is Toys. Why I put Toys R Us in the title, because it has a little sticker on there. It still has the price tag. So I put Toys R Us in the title. Toys R Us is like a made in the USA as well. For me, if I see Toys R Us on there, I'm throwing that in the title. And what did it sell for? $24.49. $6.84 is what they paid in shipping. So pretty cool. Vintage old piece here. It's a cassette. Brand new in the package. Don't think I would have picked it up if it was not brand new, but it was brand new. So really cool piece. Keep your eye out for it. Rafi? Excuse me. Okay. Here's something here that we're definitely on this piece alone. We're not making very much. And the reason why I put this in here, I've been selling these all the time, and I realized I should probably talk about this. RC Cola can. Vintage RC Cola. There's no cola in it. They are all used. They all have, baseball players on them. I believe there are some with football players as well, too. But I got 400 and... It was like 427, if I remember correctly, of these. Got them a while ago, many months ago. And it was a buy that I did. It came out to like 10 cents a can. I was like, all right, I'll pick them up. And they're selling. They are consistently selling. Surprisingly, I thought some of the other names was like, I still have a King Griffey Jr. Senior in there. I still have a Rolly Fingers in there. I thought some of those names would go, but a lot of the other players are going. Players that I'm not even familiar with are going. But either way, they're selling for right around $3.50 a can. I just sold two more of these this past week. So this one sold for $3.55. The shipping that they paid was $5.80 on this. So from a percentage perspective on each one, we're making some pretty good profit. Overall, on the deal as a whole, it's going to be probably profit-wise, we're probably going to be looking around 700. I mean, conservatively, maybe $700, $750 is probably what we're going to make on this. So it was a pretty good deal as a whole. Individually, I would stay away from it unless you could buy a whole bunch for really, really cheap. That's where I'd be at on these. It was just cool. I mean, I'm a huge baseball fan. I've always been a baseball fan. I mean, obviously, I don't really watch baseball that much. I don't really watch sports in general that much anymore. I couldn't tell you who. Yeah, I think I know who some of the newer stars are in baseball, but I really, really don't follow it like I used to back in the day. I don't know. Like I'm getting older, and things are changing. um, but padded poly bag is what this went in. The Rafi cassette also went into a padded poly bag. These go in a padded poly bag as well too. Every time I sell them, I do wrap them 3 times in bubble wrap though, just to make sure nothing happens to the can. Surprisingly, these cans are very, very durable. They're not like cans like today. These cans are solid. So really, really cool. I still have a small box of them. I'm not sure how many more I have. I have less than 100 now. And they're easy to list. They were easy to list. They're easy to list. They're easy to store. They all just go into like a box. A little bit hard to, because I just have them set in a box on my rack, and so when I do have to pull them, I kind of got to go through them all. But I've been fairly quick at identifying which ones are which. And they're cool. They're cool. In my opinion, they are cool. We're not making a bunch of money on each one, but overall, in the whole deal, we're making great money on it. Diapers. Reusable vintage diapers. Keep your eye out for diapers. They do sell these older ones, vintage ones. I couldn't even tell you how to use these. Because we use modern day Pampers, So, but people still do. I know people that still use these for their children. That look out for them. Hey, there's more modern variants of this, but these vintage ones do sell. So keep your eye out for them. What did it sell for? And these go just in poly bags. They're not gonna. Well, the pin, the little plastic part of the pin, maybe you have to worry about, but overall, it's just cloth. $22.81 is what it sold for. $6.25 is what the shipping was. Keep your eye out for it. This vintage, it's got to be brand new. Okay, you can't sell used ones. Okay, they have to be brand new, sealed. That's the only way you're going to be able to sell these. So keep your eye out for vintage Pamper. I've seen even like vintage like Pampers, like the old school Pampers. Still with the tape on it and all that. I've seen those sell for pretty well. Not that I've ever found them, but I've seen it. But these cloth ones do pretty well. I've sold these before as well too. So keep your eye out for those. This was just weird. Weird to me. Obviously, it looks like Legos. It's not Legos, so don't put Lego. Don't put minifigure in there. Any words that are used to describe Lego, you can put bricks in there. You can put buildable set. Just don't use Lego. Don't use anything trademarked. Minifigure is one that will get it taken down. But interesting, I had no idea they made. I knew they make Stargate toys. I didn't know they made these little random buildable Stargate things. I do like Stargate. I actually have currently working through my Stargate SG-1 DVD set, getting that up on my server. I have the whole series. So I'm working on getting that up on my server so I can watch it whenever I want to. But really, really cool. Keep your eye out for it. It took a little while to sell. It took about 4 months to sell, but it did sell. And this one in a padded poly bag. Pretty cool set. It's not necessarily collectible in my opinion, but someone wanted it. I sent it out. Really, really cool. Keep your eye out for it. Some of these other like Mega Blocks, those ones do really well. Connects, other buildable sets can do really well. So just keep, not just Legos. Actually, one more. I'm going to save some just to put some water in it and see if it changes it. But one more sip there, just 'cause I'm talking quite a bit. Okay. Cal Poly or Calo Poly. So it's like a Monopoly set. Now, the reason why I put this in here is because you don't want to say Monopoly. If you say Monopoly, you're going to get You're going to get it taken down. You'll get a Vero because this is not official Monopoly. But they make a lot of these, and they have Plugopoly. They have all kinds of different ones, all kinds of different states. I think it's kind of funny. There are some that are actually official Monopoly. There's a San Jose one that is official Monopoly. I don't know how my city got the official Monopoly logo stamped on it, but it did. But a lot of these do not. So beware, be cautious. Don't put Monopoly in the title. You have to put the official title of the actual product. Board game, Cal Poly University. I think any of these big name universities. I don't know. All right. I don't think Cal Poly is necessarily a big name university, but it is a fairly significant university, at least in California. Really good ice cream there, by the way. Had some great ice cream there. But so just keep your eye out for them. What did it sell for? $22.45. So you don't want to pay too much for these at all. They don't really go for that much. So you want to be in the $5 or less range when it comes to these. And it's a Monopoly set, so it's fairly easy to identify if all the pieces are there. And that is a challenge when it comes to board games and puzzles. So I pretty much stay away from used puzzles because you got to make sure all the pieces are there. And I have not come across a set that's worth it for me to spend the time to figure out if all the pieces are there. And there are some board games where it's just not worth it to go through to see if all the pieces are there. But this one was. This one's fairly easy. Monopoly is fairly easy to determine if the pieces are there or not. And great sale. And made in the USA. Made in the USA. Okay, I'm going to pause the video. That's it. I'm going to pause the video here, add a little bit of water to my drink, see if that changes anything, and get into the discussion of what we're going to talk about, which is what we're going to talk about. Oh, my ad strategies. I forgot. I was going to mention that in the beginning, but I didn't. Ad strategy and is changing. Got some insider information, I guess. I think. And then what do you call it? Oh, people leaving reselling. Okay, so first thing I did, I added a little bit of water to it. So let's see if that did anything. Nothing really on the nose. Okay. Definitely tamed the spiciness down. It's not so spicy. But dang, I'm not getting really... I mean, it tastes like whiskey, but it tastes like a rye whiskey. That's it. There's really nothing to it. There's really no... A little bit of bitterness there, but I'm let down. I was expecting more, but I was expecting more. That was it. Maybe my expectations were too high. My recommendation on this is to not buy it. I wouldn't buy it again. I would stay away from it. And like I said, I might just end up putting this into a decanter and, having this. My decanter stuff, I drink pretty much I don't drink all the time, but I mean, it's one I reach for pretty frequently as opposed to going into my cabinet and pulling out something, something what I consider a little bit more, top shelf, I guess. But not to say that my stuff in my decanter I do really like. So I'll probably put this in a decanter, and it's good. It's a good whiskey. It's just I have other ryes that I like a lot better. There's Hudson. I'm trying to remember the name right now. Hudson. Can't remember the name. Either way, it has Hudson in it. It's really good whiskey, and it's a rye whiskey, and it is like a campfire in a bottle. It is like out with my buddies, sitting around the campfire, hanging out, telling stories. That's what it draws me to. And then that's kind of what I, kind of what I look for in whiskeys, just like memories, different flavors. This is really just, to me, in my opinion, just a single note of peppery spice, and that's it. So, it's good. It's good. I mean, it's a good whiskey. Don't get me wrong. It's a good whiskey. I just don't think it's worth the price point. I think it's more like in my opinion, like a $20 bottle of whiskey, in my opinion. But I think that it's more all in the name. It's Willet. The regular Willet's actually really, really good. It doesn't even compare to the Willet that comes in that weird steel bottle. This does not have. This is not that whiskey. So, okay, let's move on. Let's move on from whiskey. Okay, so I have a few notes here. So I discovered a problem. Well, I've mentioned that on this channel before that my offsite ads, I noticed a drop off in everything. Views, how many sales I was having because of it. Back last year, August was good, and then September it just went straight downhill. There was nothing; everything just died completely. No views, no impression. I'm like, what? Well, I mean, there was very, very little. And I mean, I was already thinking like, all right, I'm gonna put some more money towards this. I'm doing incredibly well, but it just dropped off, and I don't know what happened. And anyone I talked to, um, didn't know either. I do have, I've mentioned this before. I do have some connections. I'm not, nothing that will get me like feedback removed or anything like that. I do have some connections at eBay, and nobody can really tell me what happened, what was going on. And I was like, I just figure, and I mentioned the two in the video as well, is my thought process, because around this time, they were kind of pushing those priority ads, which is their version of, pay per click. And so my assumption was that they really wanted everybody to shift over to that, as opposed to them. Obviously, Google's gonna have to make a cut of offsite ads. And then if they have their own like kind of priority pay per click ad thing, that money obviously goes towards eBay. So my assumption was that. So then I was like, all right, well, let's start working on priority ads and see what we can do with that. So fast forward to this week. And so I had another meeting with eBay. Not really a meeting, just kind of, talking about eBay Open. eBay Open's going to be a in-person event this year, so they're bringing it back to in-person. Not really much I can discuss regarding that, but I was talking to them about my ads. Just got talking about Facebook, the Facebook ad thing, and all that, and then I got into my offsite ads. Well, they said, well, let me have someone from the ads team give you a call. I'm like, all right, cool. So I was talking to them about ads and all that, and they're asking about my ad strategy, offsite ads. And I told them, it was like everything was going great. My plan was to put more money behind offsite ads. Everything was going really, really good. And then it just dropped off. Well, let me go in and take a look at the offsite ads. Apparently, they have a little bit more. They can go in there and see like what's going on with your ads. Are your ads actually getting pushed out to Google? Mine were not. About, I think it was only like maybe 3 or 4 of them that were, out of over 2,000 that were actually getting pushed out to Google. They were getting rejected by Google. I'm like, what? Getting rejected? And then you would look further into it. Well, let me see. Why are they getting rejected? They're getting rejected because of shipping. So he explained to me that when what Google wants, and I don't know if this suddenly changed. We're not going to be able to figure out, we're not going to be able to go to Google and figure out, why did you make this change? That's not happening. Okay. So Google wants, when someone looks something up, let's say they look up, what do I have here? I have like, I have some Tupperware right over here. I have a Tupperware cup. They look up a Tupperware cup, a yellow Tupperware cup. And usually present, when you search something on Google, it'll tell you like shopping, it'll present you with a price. Well, what I was told is Google wants to show like the price, like the complete price. And so what I have, and I've mentioned this before, is calculated shipping on all my items. So if somebody is in California, the shipping is going to be a certain price. If someone's out in Florida, the shipping is going to be different. It's going to be higher. And I guess Google was not able to make that calculation, and therefore it was rejecting it because it wants to give them just the price, the whole complete price with shipping and everything. It wants to present it to its customer or whoever searching. It wants to present the item and the exact price that they're going to pay, and they don't want them to click on it and then oh, I'm in Florida now, it's going to be like $2 or $3 more. No, they don't want that. So that's what I was told. So I was told my calculated shipping is the problem. So I'm like, okay, well, so that kind of threw me for a bit of a loop. I was like, all right, well, what am I gonna do now? So I got the reason. What am I gonna do? And I've always done calculated shipping. Always, always, always done calculated shipping. So, and one thing, and it kind of leads into people, people leaving reselling or eBay or whatever. We have to adapt and we have to be willing to change. And so I had to change. I was thinking about it. I sat for a while. First of all, I turned off my offsite ads because I was like, it's not doing me any good. So I might as well just turn it off now. And then as I thought about what I'm going to do, and I realized what I'm going to have to do is not necessarily really complicate things that much, but I have to introduce a little bit of, complication into what I'm doing. I like to just set like my business policy. I like to just set one business policy and that's it. So I was going to have to change things up a bit because I didn't want to get completely away from calculated shipping. There's some items that, if it's a big box, I don't want to lose money on it. I know some people just do flat rate across all the board. They'll lose some money on some things. They'll make some money on others and it kind of balances itself out. I don't like to lose. So I prefer not to lose, even though, there's something I can't avoid, like lost packages. So, it's not changing. So it's not changing. um, so I decided to change things up. I'm like, I saw so much success with offsite ads that I want to get back to that. But I don't know if I want all my listings to go out there. And I'm seeing some good success with priority ads, and I don't want to mess that up either. So what am I going to do? So what I did was I took a day to change things up a bit. I introduced a flat rate shipping on some of my items. Now the items, so I wish I had a little bit more control over offsite ads because offsite ads is going to try to send everything possible. I wish I can kind of just target different categories. Like priority ads, you can target different categories. So what I'm doing is and clothing, basically clothing items. I want them to go offsite. I don't want them, but I also want my priority ads. I'm trying to think through the process. I'm trying to explain everything as well too. I'm not a big good teacher, by the way. I'm hoping that I teach through my actions more than my actual words. But so my thought process here is like I said, I want clothing items, including shoes, to go off-site. Get promoted through Google and hopefully Facebook as well too. But I don't want to waste. I don't want to spend on offsite ads and also spend on priority ads. So what I did was I took those out of priority. I also took hats too. I did it for hats as well because hats are pretty easy for me to put a flat rate on. So I put a flat rate on hats, shoes, and clothing articles, clothing. and took them out of my priority ads. So that way I'm not spending any priority ad money on those items. I will only be spending offsite money on those items. And then hopefully that kind of extends, because you can run out of budget on priority. You can run out of budget on offsite too. You set your daily limit. But then again, it can go double, but then it won't exceed your weekly. I wish they didn't do all that. And I expressed to the ad person how much I did not want to see. I did not like that. So I changed things up a bit, and after learning, that basically 99% or maybe 98% of my listings were just rejected outright. I decided to change things up, so I created different shipping policies for the shoes, clothing, hats, and I set flat rates for each of those different categories. And it's obviously adding some complication into my world of reselling, but I think this change is going to work for the best. And we got to be able to change it. We can't be so just rigid and not want to move from this because this is the way I've always done it. This is the way that if everything's working, great, but everything was working, and sales are good, are getting back to normal. Not from January, from me being sick and all that. So things are getting back to normal, but because I had this success with ads, with offsite ads, I want to get back to that if I can. It was just like it was pretty good. I mean, I must admit it was good. Now everybody's experience will be different. Based on what you sell. There's a thing coming. It's I think it's over here on this side. Well, it's on this side for you, but for me, it's weird. Everything's opposite for me. It's a little guitar thing over there. I don't know why it's even coming through. Maybe I should turn like this a little bit. Okay, now it's not coming through. It's messing with my eyes here. So everybody, your mileage with ads may differ from mine, and you just have to give it a try. You have to determine if you can even afford to pay for ads. Because there's standard, there's different, a lot more options than there used to be. So you're gonna have to, I don't want to use the word play around with it because it could make a big difference in how much you earn. So I don't want to say play around with it, but you definitely have to get in there and try it out, see how it works. Don't spend too much in the beginning if you want to get involved with it. Keep it low because it can get out of priority ads can get out of hand very, very fast. So you gotta manage it properly. Obviously the standard, there's a standard ad rate where you set a percentage that you're willing to give up of your sale in order for eBay to show your item somewhere at the top of the of the search. Priority ads, you get even top of the top, so the tippity top. So that's why I like it and why I am seeing success with it, I believe. And I hope that these changes will increase sales. That's it. I hope it will increase sales. So, I guess the moral of the story is just not be so against making changes, so against what do you call it? Change, or so against advice or anything like that as well too. And that was the advice from the person. Obviously, they work for eBay. They want to, make eBay money. But we're gonna look at this again in about 3 weeks and look at the back end and see, and hopefully that these changes will not get rejected. Again, hopefully there's no other rejections. Now I'm going to keep an eye on things. I do have, I have direct, like I said, I have phone numbers, emails, all that stuff. So if I need to get a hold of somebody soon, I can. But it's not like incredibly urgent. It's not like it's not 911. Okay, it's not 911. It's not Rescue 911 here. It's just eBay sales. That's it. So I can wait. I'll wait a few weeks, see how things play out. We have another meeting set up, so we'll do that. eBay Open. Don't forget, eBay Open's going to be in person this year, so that is hopefully they have. I think the last in person it was not here in San Jose, so obviously I was not going to fly somewhere or drive somewhere to go to an open event unless they sponsored me. That'd be kind of cool, but we shall see. Okay. And then, people are quitting the game. People are quitting the reselling life. Or they might be scaling it all the way back. And my notes on this here. And I kind of talked about, just refusal to change, refusal to accept advice. Obviously, not everybody's advice is going to be right. Not everybody's advice is going to be advice you should follow. Because everybody's situation is completely different. So, you can definitely take people's advice, but you may need to modify it to suit your own scenario, your own situation. But be open, but being open to these things, and the other thing too is to be aware of the fact that there's something in the investing world, in the stock world, is called it's called market correction, and it's where let's say somebody says there's going to be a merger's coming up, or they're coming out with some companies coming out with this hot new product, and all of a sudden everybody's buying it, right? And so what happens usually to the company stock starts going up, 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 up. And, typically what would occur is sometimes it can be overbought, or it could be not necessarily pushed up artificially, but kind of, people are buying into the hype. And eventually once the hype settles, you might not go all the way down because maybe they made a really great product, but it's still going to go, it's going to go down. There's going to be a correction. And there's a percentage, I forget what it is. There's a number or a percentage that they attach to it to give it a name, like 5 or 10 or 15%. There's a certain percentage it has to hit exactly to give it the name of a correction. But I definitely believe that happens all over the place. Sometimes a lot of these people that are, and the reason why I bring it up is because there was a lot of people that were getting into reselling, and especially getting into reselling full time right around the pandemic. It was their first taste of it, their first jumping into the pool for the first time, and that was a artificially created hype event. Around just online selling, people buying online. They kind of had no choice, right? Was to buy online. So it created and I've talked about this many, many times, mentioned it in many, many comment sections, that the pandemic created a artificial environment, a bubble that was not realistic at all. And a very unusual event that we'll never see again. Now, people jumping in at that time, believing that the good times were always going to happen, that we're going to, the pandemic was way up here in sales. We were just, killing it everywhere, and we're going to continue to kill it. Well, what has happened since? There's correction, right? Not people stopped. Not people didn't completely stop, but buying online, buying on eBay or wherever, Poshmark, Mercari, slowed down. It slowed down because people, as things opened up, people went back to doing what they usually do. So the rise in online shopping was just, it occurred at it shot up at a level that was basically just, it was not, I was going to say sustainable, but it's not, I don't think that's the right word. It shot to a level that shouldn't have been, basically. Yes, online shopping, companies moving online, selling online, there will be steady upward growth. Steady upward growth. That's the key right there. Steady upward growth, not a sudden spike. If there's a sudden spike, usually there's something going on there, something wrong maybe, or maybe there's some, like I said, some sort of hot new item or hot new event that occurred. And there was an event that occurred that created that artificial spike. Now, what's happening is everything's coming back down. It's not going to come back down just all of a sudden and then back to normal. It's going to gradually come back down, and then it'll start to go back up. I think this coming year, or this year we're in right now, things will go back up. It's not going to go back up to pandemic levels, but it'll start to go up. We may eventually hit pandemic levels and still keep going up, but it's going to be gradual. It's going to be over time. It's not going to be something that happens overnight. It's going to be gradual. It's going to be over time, and you have to be aware of that. You have to be able to identify these things. You have to be able to see them for what they truly are. And those people that unfortunately did not, are seeing, what it's really like. Maybe they were already putting in a lot of hard work, but and then seeing incredible results. But now you're putting in hard work and you might not see any results. You might be doing all this work for little results, or for maybe half the results that you did see. So some people are pivoting. There are a lot of people that are pivoting to utilizing their social media. A lot of people, I wish I would have started my social media presence a lot earlier in the reselling world. That is, around the pandemic, before the pandemic, but I didn't. And a lot of people that did are using that to be able to still sell items, basically. Still sell items on platforms like Whatnot. There is the district, and different. There is the district, and there's different platforms within the district that are more specialized, that a lot of influencers are utilizing, which is great. It's actually an amazing platform. I wasn't too sure how, when I first heard about it, what it was really going to look like, but it's really, and I mentioned this in a previous video about super specialized websites or platforms to sell on that do incredibly well. There were two that I mentioned, Bricklink and Newegg. Two websites. Bricklink is geared just towards Legos. Newegg is geared mostly towards tech. They kind of have a little bit of everything. They have a similar marketplace to like Amazon and eBay. Yeah, it's more geared towards tech though, tech stuff, computer stuff, and district and the platforms underneath it are really specialized, becoming specialized. And I am a part of a couple of them, a few of them actually. I am a part of Dibdit, although I don't sell. That's the Trash Cash podcast. I don't really sell too much on there because they're really focused on nostalgia, kind of pop culture, 80s, 90s stuff. Some modern stuff as well too, but pop culture primarily. And not really something that not that I don't deal in it. It's just, it's hard for me to find that stuff at a good price to resell. But something I do find a lot of, and I do enjoy, are glass pottery pieces. And so I did recently join Knickknacks, which is Crazy Lamp Lady's platform. So I did join that, and I'm going to focus some of more higher end pieces of glassware and pottery. I'm going to try to push them over there because the audience is there. So just something to be aware of. To being able to pivot, being able to identify, when it's time to adjust your game, make changes, take advice. Some people don't, and some people, they'll get stuck in a rut and they'll be stuck there, and eventually, come time to end it. And for some, it's occurring now. Excuse me. There's some in the YouTube world, in the social media space, and I mentioned this before. The social media space, when it comes to reselling, is very, very, very small. I know other people that have quit that have no social media presence at all, and it seems that within social media, it seems to make a bigger splash. But I'll tell you, there's a lot more that make bigger splashes that are finishing that are not even on social media at all. And there are a lot of people that are making great sales that are just not on social media at all. A lot of people that are doing seven figures a month. They're doing millions of dollars a year that are that have nothing to do with social media at all. That all they focus on is selling. So a lot of people out there that are reselling that you just will never hear of, that are successful, and some that are not successful that you will never hear of. But it just seems, because some people have present online presence, that it seems to make a big splash. But the reality is, there's a lot that are making it, that are not making it, they're struggling to make it, that are, there's a lot out there. But my goal is keep going, keep growing. I've been at this for well over 20 years now. And I like to think, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. And, I'm making changes now that I think need to be made to continue to grow. You could, some people, you can definitely stay the course and grind and grind and grind, and you can still find success that way. But I always believe in trying to work smarter, not necessarily harder. And I think some of the changes I'm making will lead to more sales. I'm hoping that, and I think my new ad strategy will definitely help my situation. Like I said, because I saw success with it, I'm hoping that I will go back to that success and continue to grow there as well. Okay. That's enough talking. I think I've gone long enough. How long have I been going for? I don't even know. Well, this part of the video has been going for almost 30 minutes. And the first part, I don't know. So, but either way, that's it for the video. Please like the video, thumbs up, subscribe, comment down below. It's getting late. It's time to wind down. I hope everybody had a great Valentine's. This video will be out on Saturday, which is the day after Valentine's Day. I was going to mention I have a Salvation Army video that I'm going to push to the front. I'm going to release that on Monday just because it's something different, something I haven't done in a while. And you can see a new location. And then we're going to the bins. When this video comes out, it'll be the next week that we'll be going to the bins. And then I'm not sure what day exactly we're going to go, but I'll push that video out to the beginning so you can see what the bins look like in my area. Adios. Hey, you've made it to the end. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please like the video by hitting the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel by hitting my little round icon down below. It really does help us out here. Also, you'll find a couple of selections. You'll see a playlist of videos to watch and my most recent video that I did upload.